So I'm happy to show you my latest cassette deck, a Nakamichi Dragon. So here it is, right here. I'm powered on. I've always wanted to have one of these tape decks. It is one of the most fabulous tape decks you could possibly purchase. I believe Nakamichi made about 30,000 of them over a period of 10 years. And they were just the top of their game in cassette deck technology. So I'm going to introduce you to the Nakamichi Dragon first we'll go ahead and do a recording of my on my Tascam DA3000, and I've already got some selected source here to play, and then we'll record it onto the Dragon so you can kind of see the contrast between the two of them. First off though, I have to calibrate this tape to the Dragon. So cassettes, I think they came out in about 82, I believe. So it's got a reel of tape here and a take-up reel. Tape comes off here and then goes over to this reel. I have the cassette door open, and we're looking at the actual tape mechanism. So you can see here's the supply reel, and this is the take-up reel. And then notice down here that we have two what we call capstans, and the capstans are what actually pulls the tape across through the head system, and these actually control the speed of the tape, how quickly it goes across the heads. And you can see down here there's a pinch roller here, and there's also a pinch roller over here. The tape has a couple of holes in the cassette case that allow these capstans to go through and on the inside part of the tape, and then the pinch rollers come up and engage the tape between the pinch roller and the capstan. So having this two capstan design is very desirable, and it makes sure that there's a constant tension on the tape. It's very precisely controlled. This is a 3-head cassette deck. This first head right here is the erase head. Next head is the record head, this smaller one right here. And then we have the playback head. It has that extra shielding around it. This is a Maxell metal tape. So, just to try the recording out. So I'll put that in, and I'll go ahead and reset the counter on the Nakamichi. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it into record mode, record pause mode. So really you'll see basically these three lights on the pause button, the record light, and the record mute is now activated. The tape is not running currently, but right now it's ready to check its calibration. So I'm going to hit the level adjustment, and we'll have to wait just a second for the tape to come through the cassette, because they put that leader on the tape. Here we can see the calibration. So I'm going to go ahead and make a couple of adjustments here on the level. So see, I can adjust the level on both right and left channels. There, that's perfect. Then the next step is to set the bias on the tape. So if I look here, I can see that the bias is pretty close. I probably just needs to be adjusted just a hair. So I'll just crank it up just a little bit. When Nakamichi made their cassette machine, they used a number of different biasing and equalization curves for each kind of tape. And in Nakamichi's nomenclature, they called EX as just normal tape. SX is the high bias tape. Ahead of time, I already selected ZX, which you can probably guess is the metal tape. You have the choice setting the machine up for any one of these three types of tape. You need to set the mode first before recording. Now the bias is kind of important on a tape because what it does is it basically provides more bass or lower frequency in the recording. If there were no bias on the tape, the sound would sound kind of all treble and no bass. Well, what the bias does is it's a very high frequency, like around 100 kilohertz, so it's well above your hearing, but it causes the tape to go ahead and enables it to pick up those low frequencies to make it sound good. I think we're done with this calibration. then basically when you're done, just hit the reset button, and the Dragon will automatically back the tape up to 0. Remember when we first pushed we zeroed the tape counter, and so now it's back to 0 again, and now we're ready to do some recording. First things first, I've set my source to this recorder here. Well, actually, it's going to be a playback device in our case, but the Tascam will be playing something on here that I've already recorded, and then we'll use the Nakamichi to go ahead and record it again. So anyway, we'll go ahead and do the recording. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to put the deck into record mode, but it's paused right now. And then basically all we have to do is hit the arrow, directionality arrow, to start the recorder. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So now we're actually in record, and we can see the green light here and the red light here for record are on right now, and then notice the red arrow, so the deck is recording. So I'm going to go ahead and start the Tascam, and we'll just go ahead and record what the Tascam is doing. So we can see I had the levels a little hot, so I turned down the master volume on the Nakamichi to get it in a good level. Remember, metal tapes, we can kind of record hot, so we usually want to keep them, below +7 dB, and so I'm well below +7 dB, so I won't saturate the tape. And that's kind of what you're looking for. It's kind of, tape levels are kind of hard to adjust, but it can be done through a lot of practice. And different decks, these aren't necessarily always calibrated perfectly, but I would tell you that the Dragon is very, very good. It's very close. So that's a pretty good little take, for a test run here. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it. So I hit the stop button. I'll hit the stop on the Tascam because we were listening to the source and not the tape. And now I'm going to turn I turn the preamp to look at the cassette now, the Nakamichi. And now I'm going to go ahead and just rewind. I'll hit the play button here. Oh, there it was. Sorry. So now we're going to go ahead and play the tape back. We're ready to play. So I'll just hit the play on the Nakamichi. So there you go. That's a tape made from the Tascam to the Nakamichi. And you can hear that blast, that loud, it was a little bit louder in the beginning. That's when I adjusted the master level during the recording just to take it down a few notches. But it sounds really, really awesome. The other interesting thing about the playback, and I'm not sure if we missed this, but I'm going to stop the tape. And I'm going to take it out to reset the machine, and I'll put it back in. Now notice when I hit the play button, you'll see the forward arrow will flash. See that flashing? That's actually the automatic azimuth adjustment that is listening for the phase difference between the two channels and actually moving the playback head just very, very minutely to get the best possible playback. And I guess that was the end of our tape.